Okay, maybe two times this will work. This is Bianchi Law Talk. It's been a while since I've been on. A lot of people have been asking that I do some more of these. So today I thought it was a good day to start with one. If my audio is bad, if somebody could just let me know in the comment section, it'd be greatly appreciated. Today, the Attorney General William Barr has reinstituted the execution phase in federal death penalty cases. So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, it seems the media has been calling me and asking me, well, what's the difference between federal death penalty and state death penalty? Well, in the states that have the death penalty, like in Texas and Florida, they have certain laws with aggravating and mitigating factors, and if the state wishes to pursue the death penalty on a murder case, they can. The federal also has a federal death penalty statute as well, but there has not been an execution of a federal inmate who has been convicted of a death penalty crime for over 16 years. Now, there had been a dispute over the 3-drug cocktail that they were using, but the bottom line was that there was essentially a moratorium on federal death penalty cases. Well, today, William Barr's order says, that's it. No more waiting for executions. So we're going to start with 5 of the worst federal offenders starting in December. They will go to Terre Haute, Indiana, to the federal prison facility there, where they're going to be executed. Now, these are individuals who have gone through the entire appellate process. All the appeals have been exhausted. There are no more court actions. The only thing they were waiting for was the actual execution itself. So some people ask, well, prosecutorially speaking, and I have tried a death penalty case as a prosecutor, would you rather file one in state court or federal court? Well, that can be a nuanced decision that prosecutors can come together because the federal laws are a little different than the state laws. But again, if you're in a place like Florida or in Texas, at the Law and Crime Network where I host, we are dealing with a plethora of cases. They do them very quickly, they get through them very quickly, and lots of death penalty convictions and executions actually occur. Whereas in states like Colorado, for example, that has a death penalty, it's been years since anybody has been executed there. And in New Jersey, for example, when we had the death penalty, which was abolished back in 2007, there were years and years and years of convictions of people for the death penalty, but the courts found one way or another to never get to the place of actual execution. So in a real standpoint, even though there was a death penalty on the books in states like that, there was no real teeth to it because the executions were not occurring. Well, now they will be in the federal system. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts are as to whether you think this is a good thing. Now, who are some of the people that are on death row? Well, these are some pretty bad cases that Attorney General William Barr has identified. And you may remember there's people like the Boston bomber that would be an example of a death penalty case, or that kid Dylan that went and shot up all those folks that were praying in the church, I believe in like South Carolina. Most of these cases that have been identified that they're going to go forward with the executions involve children, and from all estimations are really, really bad cases. Again, I'm just going to give you my personal point of view. Not a big fan of the death penalty, even though I was a person who tried them, and it was really out of the experience of having tried death penalty cases as a prosecutor that I became more convinced that I believe it is a very arbitrary system. You can get it in one place for a particular crime and not in another place. There are mistakes that are made. I just don't trust the system enough, especially when you look at the simple fact that more black and brown people get executed at a greater rate than white people for the same kinds of crimes. So there's a lot of issues with regard to that in my mind. And I understand it's a hot button topic. I'm not trying to cause a political issue here. I hope to have no hate responses to this. It's just mine from 30 years experience, not trusting the system enough, especially when new science comes forward and many people that were convicted of death penalty cases or murder cases are later exonerated based on that evidence. That to me is tricky. Now, on the other hand, I get when you have that case where there's absolutely no doubt that that person did it and it's a very heinous crime. Well, Bob, why wouldn't you be in favor of the death penalty for those people? Well, I just don't know of a law that can be drafted that's going to say for those people that you really, 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 really know are guilty, then those individuals should be executed, as opposed to the people that maybe, maybe not. Also, I'd like to bring out and Julio, thanks for being back on. Yes, you indicate the system is seriously flawed, but you believe it's a necessary evil. I hope my audio is okay, because I had to do this over again because my last one, there was a problem with it. And that's Julio's position to it. And that's the position of many, many people. But I do agree, if there is going to be one, it should be reserved for those cases where there is very little, if any, as much as is humanly possible, doubt as to the guilt of the individual, and that the aggravating factors are so significant and that the person got proper representation. See, one of the concerns concerns I have when I'm watching these trials at the Law and Crime Network, having tried death penalty cases, is I don't see the lawyering going on in those cases in the penalty phase like I saw up here in New Jersey. And that makes me wonder. And the other thing that bothers me is that in some places, Julio, we talked about this in the preceding segment that I did, when I became Morris County prosecutor, every murder case but one was filed as a death penalty case. And in a corresponding jurisdiction like Essex County, which is just over a county line, similar offenses were never filed as death penalty cases. In fact, they had very few death penalty cases. So to me, the fact that you could be in a geographic location, literally in one place, and then step over a line, this invisible barrier, and into another place, and that would make the difference as to whether you're executed or not, is just one of the many reasons that I am just uncomfortable with that kind of punishment. But I understand horrendous crimes and that idea, Julio, so thanks for commenting. I'm curious, I mean, what's your point of view? I know there's a knee-jerk reaction out there to say, oh, just everybody should be executed that kills people, but I'm interested in those people that have been around the block and have watched projects like the Innocence Project that have exonerated so many people that have been wrongfully convicted, and if you actually went through the system itself and saw how it operates, so some lawyers are better than other lawyers, and I really believe, truly in my heart, that you could get a case that could be a death penalty with one prosecutor, and in the hands of another prosecutor or a different defense attorney, that very same case tried to that very same jury maybe would not be a death penalty case. That's how random it is to me. Anyway, guys, thanks for your support at Bianchi Law Talk. I'm going to continue these things, but the breaking news for today, and the media is all over it. Again, Attorney General William Barr has reinstituted the execution phase, which will begin in December with 5 people that have already been identified. All the appeals have been exhausted. All that's left to do is the execution itself. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.